Hi, this is the Social Jello with Angelo show. My name's Angelo. I'm a social scientist, surfer, martial artist, and a whole lot of other things. Coming to you live from Kasai City, Japan, the Social Jello with Angelo show.
What's up? This is Social Jello with Angelo podcast. I'm here with Rowland of he's a YouTuber of combat self-defense.
Combat self-defense.
YouTube channel. Nice.
You nailed it. I'm happy with that. You nailed it.
I'm getting better. I think it was like 3 different episodes that I actually got through the introduction without fucking it up. So yeah, today we're talking, it's on the title, working title, the history of Muay Thai kickboxing. And I was just telling Rob right before we got started. So the idea is a lot of people now see Muay Thai kickboxing in the UFC and in MMA, and it's thrown out there along with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a quote unquote modern martial art, right? Because MMA is kind of a modern. I don't want to get too sidetracked here. I can go on a whole side quest on why MMA itself as a sport is not actually a modern martial art, and I've talked about this with Rob before. Because if you go back with the whole pancreation and all that stuff, you'll find stuff that looks very similar in history to MMA. But I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. I have a
whole video about it.
Yeah, hey, Rob has a whole video, and he's going to send me a link, and you can see it here. Because if I'm professional enough, which I'm getting a little better with, there'll be a little tag here. Check out Rob's video. So yeah, you can check that out there. We're going to talk about that. So we're focusing on kickboxing here because I think a lot of people who are new to martial arts, I hope people who are new to martial arts watch this. Although a lot of Kajikimbo guys watch this, and I always say this is not the Kajikimbo podcast. Although already one person jumped in the comments and said, "Well, it should be."
It's not. There's not much else.
It should be, and I want to say to those people, "Hey, no, officially, the KSDI has the Talk Story podcast. Check it out here, and you can click there and check out. And that's the official Kajikimbo podcast. I'm not that. I'm just a Kajikimbo guy who interviews a lot of Kajikimbo guys, including Rob, who's also a Kajikimbo guy. It's just because that's all I know. I know people that do Kajikimbo. That's my network. But back to the original topic. So a lot of people come into Muay Thai kickboxing nowadays, especially newer martial artists, and people are just casual MMA fans, and they see Muay Thai kickboxing as more on the kickboxing side, kind of like boxing. Which is just and even boxing. I don't know. Me and you talked about this. Boxing is not a modern martial art either. It's an ancient martial art that's still around now. But still, there's this view that Muay Thai kickboxing is a modern martial art, and I kind of want to talk more about the history of Muay Thai kickboxing itself from Thailand. So, my first question, because there's some facts. So, Rob Rowland. His background, I'll let you tell your background. What's your background in Muay Thai kickboxing before we get started?
So Muay Thai and after I got my first degree black belt in Kajikembo, my instructor, Grandmaster Jay Vera, told me, hey, I don't want you to study Kajikembo anymore. I want you to go study something else. Study it for a prolonged period of time, and then bring that back into Kajikembo. Add that to your curriculum. To your curriculum, add whatever you want. I don't care what it is, add it in. I decided on Muay Thai because, like you said, I'm a big fan of UFC, MMA, and I saw the predominant striking style at the time was MMA. Was Muay Thai. So there was a Bang Muay Thai affiliate over here in Austin, Texas. I decided that I've been wanting to join for a long time, so I joined. From there, I jumped over to a more traditional Muay Thai style. Traditional meaning someone who's more focused on the way Muay Thai is done in Thailand, not so much done in a more forms-focused kind of way. Because there is a division between Muay Thai traditional and traditional Muay Thai. Like Western Muay Thai is very different from Thai Muay Thai, and we can get into that in a little bit. But I did that in 2016, 17. I devoted myself pretty much entirely to Muay Thai. I was doing that full time from 2017 until now. Recently, I started coaching the style back in 2020. I guess right about the hit of the pandemic, I started coaching it, and it is now my full-time job to coach people in the art of 8 limbs. I don't want to say I'm a Muay Thai coach because I do incorporate a lot of kickboxing, a lot of karate, a lot of boxing, but I do incorporate Muay Thai into what I'm doing. So if Kajikembo was my first love as a martial art, Muay Thai was my first love as a striking system.
unmute. So I'm a professional, folks. Yeah, I've been doing this for over 5 years. So I guess okay. I have yeah. I'll automatically have a quick question. And we're gonna go into the history. Don't worry, for everyone following, we are gonna go to the history. I have a few questions. So what does make because you made a distinction right now. You said I'm not a Muay Thai coach, but I coach for kickboxing. So what then I guess my first question is what is the distinction for a quote unquote Muay Thai coach?
So Muay Thai, as a system as it is nowadays, incorporates a lot more clinching. In fact, it incorporates clinching, whereas kickboxing, as we know it, does not. Kickboxing is punching and kicking with either the foot or the shin. Sometimes there's knees. There's usually not elbows, and there's definitely no stand-up grappling. Muay Thai incorporates the punch, the elbow, the knee, the shin or the foot, however you want to call it, as well as clinch. So you're allowed to essentially dirty box, hold on to somebody while you strike them with elbows and knees. You can try to dump them to the ground. You're not allowed to throw them. It's not judo. It's not sanda. You can sweep out the foot from underneath somebody, but you can't reap the leg like with an osotogari, and you can't throw them over your shoulder. It's all about disrupting somebody's balance at the foot or by pushing them over using basically brute strength.
And so I guess right off the bat, when we're looking at competition, Muay Thai competitions have different rules. I know in Japan, I'll just go from for anybody who's watching this for the first time. I live in Japan, and I coach out here. I had my guys compete in a Muay Thai tournament, and the rules stated what you just said. Everything you just said, they stated for the Muay Thai rules, and they were a little flexible on the shoulder throw because my student ended up getting someone in a hip toss, and they didn't call him out on it, which I thought was great. They got a little upset. His coach got upset, but the referee didn't say anything, and he hurt the guy. And I just told him, and he was like, "Oh, what should I do?" I'm like, "You get him. He's hurt. Like, if the ref's not stopping you, then you finish the fight." But that's a whole different story. But then the kickboxing in Japan states that was a Muay Thai tournament. But then the kickboxing tournaments in Japan state amateur kickboxing that you can clinch and deliver one knee. You cannot elbow. You cannot dirty box. You can't, for example, clinch, hold them, and start punching them in the face. But they do have this weird gray rule where you can kind of clinch and get one hit in, and you got to let the guy go after that. Well, how about the U.S. rules? What are they?
So to understand the U.S. rules, you have to understand the Thai rules. In Thailand, you can grab onto somebody and hold them for the entire fight. Muay Thai is kind of you battle with the kicks from a long range to get into the clinch range, pull someone into what's called a double plum, or get your bicep control and just basically destroy them with knees until you sweep them to the ground, and then the process begins again. The Western world, because of the influence of boxing and of karate, which is an influence of kickboxing, K1 kickboxing in Japan, they tend to not let the clinch go as long. There's more of an emphasis placed on fist and foot striking because people want to see the clinch is boring to watch if you don't know what you're watching. It just is. It's two guys holding onto each other, somebody trying to throw someone to the ground, but you don't really know what's happening. Somebody untrained in martial arts knows what punching and kicking looks like. So in the West, there's a lot more emphasis on boxing, on heavy combos, on footwork, on agility, not so much on the knees, on the elbows, and the clinch. In Thailand, it's a lot more single, double, triple strikes to get into the clinch for knees to go for sweeps. It's not better or worse. It's a different style, but it is. So side tangent, Muay Thai is simultaneously its own style and a rule set. Like someone who does Kembo exclusively could compete in a Muay Thai tournament as long as they follow the rules, and it would be equally as Muay Thai as someone who grew up doing any of the camps in Bangkok. Okay. Is a rule set and its own style.
So it's kind of it's a sport and it's a style. I think that'd be a really good way of anybody who's trying to follow this. It's a sport, rule sets. It's a sport, and it's also Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the same thing. It's a sport and it's a traditional martial art.
Yeah, you can think of it like boxing in the U.S. We have Philly boxing, right? We have the Philly shell, and then we have Mexican boxing. They're both the same thing. They follow the same rules, but they're completely different ways of fighting.
So, but then the one distinction that we do, and this is a great transition. that we do need to talk about Muay Thai as compared to even BJJ. And no, I actually looked into it. Even BJJ, it didn't have forms, but in its origins, and if you want to learn more about this, check out Stephen Kesting's podcast about Carlson Gracie, I think it was. And I'll put that here. Man, I'm gonna have to tag a lot of videos on this one. He talks about how originally there was a lot of presets. They actually did very little sparring, and it looked very much like our Kajukembo, the stuff that Hackleman complains about. Not even piñons. Yeah, I guess not even the piñons. It looks more like the preset self-defense, like the punches, the alphabets that they always talk about. So if you look at karate, for anybody watching trying to follow what the hell's going on here, you look at some karate styles and some martial arts styles, you'll notice there'll be these preset self-defense stuff where the guy throws a punch and the guy steps out like this and he blocks this way and then grabs this way, and it's like a preset. And there's a whole other video I can make about whether or not that's good or not, but just face value of that, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was doing the same thing a long time ago. It was just, okay, this is what you do. The guy grabs you here, you defend this way, and that's how people earned their belts back in the day. And things changed. Now, Muay Thai kickboxing has a similar vein, but I don't know what it is, and that's why you're here. If anybody's been watching or following martial arts, maybe you've seen movies with this guy named Tony Jaa. Is that his name?
Tony Jaa. Soft J, like jogging.
Oh boy. All right. what he just said. So if you saw in those movies, what were some of his movies? For
Ong Bak, the Thai warrior.
There it is. Ong Bak, the Thai warrior. If you saw this movie, then you know what I'm talking about. If you didn't, check it out. It's a fun movie to watch. And in this movie, he's doing forms. It looks like he was doing forms. And what is that? Is that another name? Is that like, because I've seen online them call it something else, saying it's. So what is that? I'll just hand it over to you.
So the thing is, you can't talk about Muay Thai without understanding the name of it. Muay Thai does not mean the art of 8 limbs, which what people think it means. They think it means fist, elbow, knee, foot. But it doesn't mean that. Muay in Thailand means boxing, or more appropriately, fighting. Thai means Thailand. It is the Thai boxing. So you'll see a lot of gyms in the United States and all over the world that say, we teach, Angelo Ferrer's Thai boxing, not Muay Thai, it's Thai boxing. Because boxing in and of itself doesn't mean punching. It means the art of hitting somebody from a position where you can't hit them. So in Thailand, there was Muay Thai, Muay Burma, Muay Siam. There's a bunch of different Muays that are just boxing from a different region. The same way we talked about Philly boxing versus Mexican boxing, there was a bunch of different fighting styles based on the region in what is now known as Thailand, what back in the day was Ayutthaya and Siam and Burma and all these different things that eventually evolved into the sport called Muay Thai. If you do a striking style in Thailand and you can compete under these rules, you are doing Muay Thai. So with that in mind, Tony Jaa does a style. He does Muay Thai, but he also does a style called Muay Boran. Muay Boran, I don't know. So I'm not a Muay Thai scholar. There's literally a guy whose name is the Muay Thai scholar. He's the guy to ask about the exact names and the history of the dates and all that stuff. I'm not that guy. Mine comes from brief reading, videos, stuff like that. So take everything I'm saying with like a grain of salt, plus or minus a few 100 years, right? Muay Boran could be a reference to the town that the style came from, or the specific style itself, the way it was done. So Muay Thai, as we know it today, or what it's called in Thailand, which is just Muay, is the sport element of Muay. Muay Thai is, we're going to put on the gloves, we're going to work 3 rounds of 3 minutes or 5 rounds of 3 minutes, and we're going to declare victory by either judge's decision or knockout. Those are the only 2 ways we're going to win. Muay Boran is an older version of that style that is more war-focused. It's not self-defense focused. It's a style that was used to go to war with people, that a soldier would learn to go into battle and fight, sometimes with the ropes possibly dipped in glass and other things, sometimes just barefisted. There's a whole The problem is, like a lot of martial arts, like with karate, like with kung fu, there's no written history, there's an oral history. So there's a legend that there was a specific division of an army who was designated to fight with spears and swords and shields, and there was another specific division that was devoted to fighting barehanded. And those were the Muay Boran, Muay Chaya, different fighters who were just good enough to fight barehanded. They didn't need a weapon.
So is it true they would wrap their ropes, right? And then they dip them in chocolate syrup and put gummy bears on there and peanuts and any toppings they wanted? I forgot what movie that was.
So the hand wraps became a thing eventually. The ropes became a thing eventually. That is a quantifiable fact. We know for a fact that at a certain point, Muay Thai was a bare knuckle, bare shin event that eventually evolved to include the ropes. There's some debate on if it started to include the dipping in broken metal and different things like that. That's Sydney, my new dog, hanging out in here with me. There's some debate because as a sport, you don't really want that for your athletes. Because if someone, sport means we want to see this person compete multiple times, right? So if you get cut up by some glass in someone's knuckle so bad that you can't fight ever again, nobody can really gamble on you. But at the same time, people like a bloodbath. So the word is out if they actually did dip their hands in razor blades and stuff like that. It's possible. What I subscribe to is that if there was a division of the army that fought barehanded, that was probably the division that dipped their hands in metal to cut their enemies. The sport itself probably didn't.
And yeah, I'm mostly exaggerating and joking. But a more serious question is, so I've also seen now there's like a new sport being done. I don't know where this is done. Maybe you can. Maybe this is it. Okay, I'll ask you. Let me get the question out of my fucking mouth first, and then you can try to answer that. So I've seen online there's a different sport, or maybe it's the same sport, where they're actually wearing the ropes and they're just fighting with the ropes and not wearing any gloves. Where is that from, and is it related to Muay Thai?
That is another thing that could be Muay Thai. Again, the ropes as hand wraps is a real thing. The gloves in Muay Thai didn't come to exist until like the 1920s, 1930s. So it used to be done with the ropes. That part we know for sure. Letwe, which is from Burma, I could be wrong about that, also does a similar thing. Again, that whole region of Southeast Asia kind of developed martial arts in a similar way. So Letwe, Lethwei, could be the style you're referring to. But we know for a fact that Muay Thai was done with hemp ropes before the gloves were introduced. The gloves were introduced as a result of Thailand and Japan and China and all these different countries being introduced to Western boxing, where they were also introducing the gloves. The point of the ropes was protection of the hands to create a cast between the knuckles and the fist and the wrist, and to deliver more damage to your opponent. So it was simultaneously more protective to the attacker and to the person actually wearing them. But then they realized, like, hey, even with the ropes, our fighters are getting pretty damaged pretty quickly, so let's do the gloves. The gloves allow us to hit really hard without cutting someone up so bad they can never fight again.
Okay. So I'm just gonna so anybody who's watching who maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't. The ropes, and I've seen a few of them, and what you're talking about is on Instagram and stuff. See, here's the ropes right here that he's talking about, and I know there's a few people that are saying that they're like I said, modern. They're using the gloves more, but I do know that there's still people out there, because I know Joe Rogan was talking about some guy he's following on Instagram who's decided to focus on a division of something Muay Thai, where they're only using the ropes to bring it back old school, I guess.
So for safety's sake, if you want to say like a version of Muay Thai that uses the ropes, you can just say Muay, and it'll mean any Muay Boran, Muay Chaya, Muay whatever. If they're using the boxing glove, the ropes, whatever, Muay will cover it, because Muay just means boxing.
Okay, so they're doing a style of Muay.
Yeah.
It sounds weird without saying Thai. But
yeah, it does.
I feel like I can say that with you because we just already discussed all the operational definitions. But if I just grabbed some other person who didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, they're doing a style of Muay. They're just gonna give you this weird look.
Yeah, so for you and I, think about like trying to explain Kajikembo to somebody.
Oh, geez, no,
Like,
no.
so what I'm saying is
No.
like it's easier for you and I to just say it's a American version of karate, right? It's an easy way of saying that. Muay Thai is the same way. What's that guy doing? Muay Thai. What about that guy wearing the ropes? Muay Thai.
wow.
What about that?
I think I figured out the real title of this podcast.
Muay Thai is Kajikembo.
What is Muay Thai? What is Kajikembo? It's gonna be what is Muay Thai really? I think that's gonna be the title. What is Muay Thai really? Because we just went down that rabbit hole of Muay Thai. Okay, so is there like a grappling version out there? I don't know how much you know about Muay. If Muay is the style of fighting, because now we really opened up a can of worms with our 5-minute wrap up. Is there like a grappling version? Is there some sort of wrestling grappling going on in Thailand?
So that would be the clinch. So Muay derived from Krabi Kabrong, which is the weapons-based form of Thailand. They have those extremely curved swords. Like if you think a katana is curved, think even more closer to a circle. That's the Thai sword. And they had a bunch of other weapons, but that's the primary thing. They would fight with 2 of them, one in each hand. And the techniques of Muay Thai, are very similar to the techniques of Krabi Kabrong. So they wouldn't grapple on the ground. It was a lot about grabbing a hold of someone, stabbing them, throwing them out of the way, going to the next person, doing the same thing to him. So there's not a Muay Jitsu, right? There's no throwing somebody on the ground. Yeah, those are the swords. So it's fought with 2 hands. You're able to really, because I've taken a few classes on this, you should be able to attack someone in front of you and behind you at the same time. Like a lot of the forms are done where they're stabbing in front of you, cutting behind you. And the way they move is actually, this is a complete side tangent. The way that Krabi Kabrong moves empty-handed looks a lot like karate. They do a lot of high blocking, X blocking, grab, reverse punch, because with the sword handle in your hand, it makes sense that you do this to block someone with the sword, to pull the hand out of the way, to punch, to a slash.
And I wonder, not to go down that rabbit hole too much farther, but I wonder if a lot of the Okinawan karate styles, which a lot of people claim, and I'm not going to go there too far into that deep rabbit hole, but a lot of people claim that Kajikembo has roots for the karate style from Okinawan, but either way, I'm not going to go too far into that. But if on face value all this is what people claim it is, that's where a lot of that stuff's coming from too, right? Because a lot of the stuff in Okinawan karate, they have the tonfas and the sais. They actually use sais. So yeah, a lot of drawing back had to do with opening up to stab and get all stabby.
So one of the things we have to remember is that empty hand combat as the primary form of human violence is relatively new for us, right? Like back in the day, everyone carried a dagger, a sword, a stick, something. Like fighting hand to hand, mano a mano, is kind of new. Not that it didn't exist before. Obviously, pancration was a real thing, but primarily, if you had an issue with somebody, you wanted to stab them. And if you do Okinawan karate, if you do Muay Thai, it makes a lot more sense that we stand like this with a hand in the way. If you think about a sword being held reverse grip, or a tonfa, or a sai, or something, because now I'm not trying to block you with my forearm. I'm trying to block you with a weapon, with a piece of metal that I'm going to strip and stab you with. Like for all the people that say that karate doesn't work, karate forms don't work if you do them empty-handed. But put a knife in your hand, and all of a sudden you're very effective with karate forms.
All right. So before we wrap up, is there any points that you wanted to mention?
Yes. So Muay Thai, as we know it today, it is a traditional martial art. It is, in fact, one of the oldest martial arts. It's so funny when people think Muay Thai is like new and modern. It's going to sound controversial, but you can use this as your like plug for the video. Muay Thai is what Kajikembo pretends to be, because Muay Thai has existed in some form or another since literally the Dark Ages. It started out as a military system, and as a communal defense system. Like you had both soldiers and essentially police studying Muay to some division, to some extent, to be able to protect their community. And then it became a sport. And then it became a form of self-defense. And then it met with Western boxing and karate and became a worldwide phenomenon. But every time it had a giant cultural shift, it was able to adapt. And like you said multiple times, that anybody who has any affiliation with Kajikembo should be considered Kajikembo. You know, the way that Sage Northcutt or John Hackelman or whoever is considered Kajikembo, that's what Muay Thai does. Muay Thai, even back in the day, said, we saw a guy fighting with swords. Well, he's doing Muay Thai. He's Thai. He's from our country. That's Muay Thai. Fast forward, guys fighting with ropes. That's Muay Thai. Fast forward, guys fighting with 16-ounce gloves. That's Muay Thai. Fast forward to today, where we have Westerners, guys like Jonathan Haggerty, Liam Harrison, myself, fighting in even 4-ounce gloves, MMA gloves. That's Muay Thai. Every step of the way, they've said that's what Muay Thai is. So it's simultaneously a sport, a form of self-defense, a form of militaristic warfare, and if you study something like Muay Chaya or Muay Rowland, which looks a lot more like karate or Tai Chi, it's also a form of self-perfection.
Well, I mean, not to always tie this back to Kajikembo, but we will. The thing that Muay Thai sounds like what Muay Thai is doing is the same thing as what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys have been doing. Although it sounds like Muay Thai, well, no, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gets connected to Judo, right? So just like what we just talked about, we can connect to something older and then just keep going back. Well, yeah, I guess with Kajikembo, technically you can do the same thing. You can start going back to the Judokan. And,
it's just not as old.
It's just not as old as far as it's just not as old. And that's what I've always said. And even a lot of Kajikembo guys say the same thing. It's if you talk to Mitch Powell, he'll say the same thing. A lot of the dates are off. It's not actually 1940 something. It's like 1950 something. And there's a whole podcast I did on that. And I don't like to say the actual date because some guy will jump in the comments and be like, "No, it's," and I'm not even going to go there. But I will say
it doesn't matter.
It's like a 10-year difference. There's a group that says 1940s and then it's 1950s. But if you go back to those styles that were practiced, it goes back even older. But the difference is between Muay Thai and a hybrid modern martial art, which I have been saying Kajikembo is for a while now. I don't know if that's a controversial statement or not. This art is connected to a whole culture, a whole country, and it's just going to go way back further every time. America itself as a country is younger than the other countries. So anytime you start going to some other country, historically, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're going to find castles in England. You're not going to find castles in the U.S. It's not that old. You're going to find castles in Muay Thai because it's been around since the 13th century. You won't find that with Kajikembo.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. So last question, some facts that I was just wondering. So the Thai fighters in Star Wars, would a Muay Thai guy say those were Muay Thai?
If they were Thai.
Okay.
If they were Thai, yes.
All right. I'm not sure what planets they were from. It's a pretty big squadron. I'll have to look into that later. All right. Well, thank you everyone for checking out Social Jello with Angelo podcast. Thank you, Rob Rowland from Combat Sports.
Been 3 years. Been 3 years.
I had to fuck it up at the very end. Combat self-defense. As you saw earlier, check out his videos on martial arts and self-defense. Catch you all next time. I'm trying to release at least one of these a month, but now lately it's like 2, 3, or 4. But don't expect that out of me, please. One or two of these a month is what normally is happening. But if you get more, just consider it a bonus. Catch y'all next time.
See y'all.